stronger knowing that you guys are out there and supporting us and sticking by us. We appreciate everything you're doing, and it just means the world to us. The fight is ongoing, as you all know. We have all the evidence we need in our discovery right now to prove that the BLM and Daniel Bogdan here in Nevada and Sheriff Lombardo, the Sheriff of Clark County, actually were on a three-way phone call prior to the protest of the wash where they discussed on how to entrap and how to frame the Bundys and their supporters in taking the cattle. We have all of that in our evidence. Our thing now is trying to get it in front of the judge. And as you know, the judge is trying to stop it in any way she can for us giving it evidence. I mean, this is probably the only case in U.S. history where the people being charged with crimes are begging for more evidence to be admitted into the courts. And it's the judges and the prosecution who are preventing the evidence from coming in. One thing we need from everybody more than anything else is to keep the phone calls going, keep the letters going, and do everything we can to put pressure on this judge and these prosecutors to allow us to let this evidence in. But we love you guys, and we appreciate everything you're doing, and keep up the good work, because it's definitely making a difference.
Joseph, I got to visit with you yesterday, and I've thought about you ever since. You know, you hit home on a lot of things personally with me, and I just want to thank you for everything that you've done personally, the sacrifices and everything, Joseph. I mean, seriously, it's you make me cry. I think,
like I said, it's horrible being in here, but every day I just hope and pray that our sacrifice is going to be so that nobody else ever has to go through this, that our children will never have to go through this. And I have no doubt that in the end, God is going to use us for good, and He's going to make good things come out of this. We just have to stay positive and keep fighting through.
And I want to tell you about, yesterday we talked about kicking them in the shareholders. Somebody's already made a Facebook page, and it's being shared everywhere. That this person that made the Facebook page is keeping it very, very professional, and he's giving out the phone numbers and everything else of the shareholders, and he has put the number one person company that is the shareholder, and he's got their phone numbers, their email address, and everything else, and so it's going out. And so we're working on hitting them where it hurts in the pocketbook. And everything that we're doing is legal. We're just asking people to call and say that the prison abuse is unacceptable and the shareholders need to do something. The shareholders were also, last year, did a class action suit. The shareholders did a class action suit against this company for the abuses of inmates and everything else because of what they did. And so they're aware. So there are shareholders out there that are very aware, and their stocks plummeted. And now that they've changed their name to Core Civic, the stocks are going back up. So if we can make a difference, and I think that this has been shared hundreds of thousands of times, I don't even know, I'm probably exaggerating the number there, but so that's going out. The information, the personal information on the shareholders and everything else is going out at this time. So we're making a dent. I hope that makes you feel better.
That's like I told you when we talked, you know, I slipped and fell. I ripped the tendon in my shoulder. I had to get medical care. You know, Cliven fell, same thing. He ripped a muscle in his leg. He never got medical care. We've been filing grievances after grievances. This has been going on for 6-7 months now, and they still refuse to get us proper medical care. And it's something. This facility was never designed to actually house people long term. This was actually supposed to be a hub for the West Coast where when inmates were being transferred. It was never ever meant for people to actually be held here for long periods of time. So that is one of the biggest problems that we're having right now. These facilities are not set up to hold people for long times. The staff is not trained for long term, especially the medical care. They're very blatant, and they refuse to give you. They'll do something for you, wait 3 months, and then tell you to come back. And what they do is they do it, by the time they actually have to spend money and fix the problem, you already be gone and down the road. So it's definitely something that the shareholders need to know, that America needs to know. Regardless of a conviction, our or anything. These people in here, along with us, are still American citizens. We still have rights, and we still have a right to access to medical care and counseling and access to our attorneys. And there's certain inalienable rights that we never lose, regardless of the situation we're in. And that's something we need to make aware to these shareholders and the rest of America, that this is taking place here.
You touched on that, and I also want to touch on the law library and your access to the law library to prepare your case. I'm being told by a couple of the guys in there that they've actually stopped going to the law library because of what's going on. The person in there is throwing their stuff on the floor and getting stuff lost and the such.
Yeah, we've had several incidences with the person that runs the law library. He is actually very biased against our case. I find it sort of ironic. We're literally surrounded by drug dealers and murderers and people of all sorts. But for some reason, this case, because it's made such national attention, this person involved has literally gone through our discovery and has been looking through our discovery. Anything we have printed, she looks at and scans. I know CCA in the past has been in trouble for sharing actual discovery and phone calls and other information that was attorney-client privilege with the actual federal marshals. This is something that's been ongoing for quite some time, apparently, with this company. All we can do is we're lucky enough that we have our own little computer in our pod, and we just try to stay inside our pod. I've done that since the time I first got here, just because I want my attorney to do the printing for me and everything else. But yeah, it's definitely a problem that we're experiencing in these kind of facilities.
Well, the legal aspect of what she's doing is criminal, and she should be put behind bars. She should be put behind bars.
Absolutely. It's completely criminal. I mean, we have a right to build a case just as a prosecution, and when there is attorney-client privileges. Also, one of the big problems we have here is when I was in Oregon, they had a separate phone for attorney phone calls. Here, you have to actually... there is nothing you can really do as far as attorney phone calls, and CCA has already been has gotten in trouble a couple times for actually sharing recorded phone calls with U.S. Marshals between attorneys and their clients. So that's another thing we have a problem with.
Joseph, hold on one second. We're going to go inside of a tent. It's really windy.
Oh yeah, that's a good hot.
Okay, we're back. Go ahead. It's a lot less windy up here. We were talking about the law library. If there's